A gentle breeze drifts through the courtyard, carrying the scent of an imminent farewell. Before Gizllin departs for the Turan kingdom, the mood thickens with silent apprehension. Rosalind faces him, her brow deeply creased in worry. She can't hide her concern as she asks, "Is he truly heading to the Kingdom of Tion calm yet determined?" Gizllin adjusts his gauntlet strap and replies, "Yes." He takes a moment letting the gravity of the destination sink in, then adds, "The Marquis ordered it, so I must obey." Hearing this, Rosalind's worry deepens. The very name sends a shiver down her spine. Stepping closer, her voice shakes. To such a perilous land, especially with the war barely behind us. Her mind floods with scenes of war's aftermath and the chaos gripping the borderlands. Before she can finish, Gizllin interrupts with steady words. "It seems they still doubt his accomplishments," he says, speaking of himself in a detached way, weighing the politics at play. "They want him to prove himself with this mission." Despite the serious tone, a subtle flirtation passes between them. A lingering look, a softness in their eyes hinting at a bond beyond mere alliance. With a warm glance that breaks the coldness of parting, Gizllin meets her gaze and reassures Rosalind, "Don't worry." He flashes a confident, somewhat tired smile. "I've hunted monsters until I'm sick of it." Rosalind falls silent, embarrassed that her fears showed. Her cheeks faintly redden. She looks down, seeking composure. Then, clearing her throat, she shifts to practical matters, saying, "By the way, the negotiations with the Wana order you requested went smoothly." She indicates the waiting carriage. "You can keep Priest Peyote with you, worry-free." Inside the carriage, poor Priest Peyote appears completely anxious. Her face pale green, trembling as if traveling with this group spells doom. Straightening his posture with formality, Gizllin admits surprise. He tells Rosalind, "Though you are a patron, convincing a priest from such a strict order must have been tough." He knows the Wana order for their rigidity and stubbornness. With a sly grin rekindling her sparkle, Rosalind replies, "No, it was nothing special." She leans in slyly. "The Wana leader Perisco may be a priest, but he has a weak spot for money." A knowing glance passes between them. Gizllin bows his head slightly, a refined and respectful gesture. Calling her my lady, he thanks her, "I remain forever in your debt." Rosalind blushes at this gesture. The blend of formality and genuine thanks flusters her. She tries to speak, lips parted, but no words emerge right away. Then Gizllin offers his arm in an invitation, a timeless gesture of evening courtesy. The lady clasps her knight's arm, her hand resting gently on his forearm. In a deeply romantic moment outlined by the soft morning glow, Gizllin gently kisses Rosalind's hand. He lingers there briefly, then lifts his eyes to meet hers. Calling her once more, "My lady," he speaks with heartfelt sincerity, "I only ever desire your happiness." From their talks, the ease in their silence, and the tender touches, they seemed like an old married pair. The husband was headed toward danger far off, and the wife stood steady his anchor before the storm carried him away. Time shifts, and so does the view. Now, distant from home's comfort beneath the shadowed peaks of Tion's kingdom, the air grows thin and sharp. Gizllin leads his group forward. The ground is rough, the sky bruised in purples and grays. Each face hardens with fierce resolve, muscles taut, ready for the fight ahead. Even fiercer is Gizlin's fierce horse. The beast snorts eyes wild, reflecting its rider's fierce mood. This is no gentle creature. It's a hunter poised to strike. Suddenly, Belinda points sharply at Gizllin in front, her voice slicing through the cold wind. She reminds him the monsters are closing in. As the terrifying horde crashes upon them, screaming and slashing, chaos erupts in the air. Yet there's no fear. Gizllin and his crew slaughter the beasts with ease. It's not battle, it's a massacre. Gizllin cuts through monsters like soft tofu, his blade blurs with speed, meeting no fight as it slices through bone and skin. His horse seems even more eager than he is, stomping and biting, charging headlong into the chaos. Lucas strikes with his swift spear, darting like a venomous snake, piercing hearts and necks with perfect strikes. Kier, armed now with the martial art granted by Lord Gizan, Perdium also shines. He moves with fresh power. His body flows through practiced forms, cutting down monsters as battle ecstasy takes hold. Laughing loudly, a wild sound bouncing off canyon walls, he revels in the thrill. Taunting the beasts with screams, daring them to come drunk on his own strength. As the fight fades, Kay still vibrates with adrenaline and fierce joy. Then suddenly, annoyed by the noise, Belinda hurls a hooked chain through the air, hitting Kay's cheek with deadly aim. She yanks the chain, dragging him hard back to his horse. He lands roughly in the saddle, rubbing his sore cheek, grimacing with pain and anger, asking Belinda, calling her, "Lady, why did you hook my mouth, Belinda?" Calmly coils the chain, indifferent. She fixes him with a cold stare, asking, "Should I aim somewhere else next time?" Kay freezes. Meeting her icy glare, he realizes better than to argue with her, especially not here. Not that he'd win. Belinda is fearsome in her own way. He grumbles, silently rubbing his cheek, trying to save face. He scans the bleak landscape. "We've been running into monsters all the way here." He spits low and adds, "So this is the wild, lawless land swarming with powerful monsters." Huh? Lucas seizes the moment at that instant. He pulls up beside him, a sly grin tugging at his lips. He mocks Kay, saying, "You're following them, knowing this." Raising an eyebrow, he asks, "Are you fearless, or just plain dumb?" Sayre's face flushes red. He tries to brush off Lucas's jibes, waving his hand dismissively. He replies, "Say whatever you want." With a stern tone, Gizllin commands them to stop. His voice triggers immediate compliance. He tells them to prepare. "We're almost there," he says, eyes locked on the horizon where a fortress's outline emerges. The mind drifts to days before, during preparations in Fenris territory. The room feels warm, a stark contrast to the chill they endure now. Gizllin stands before his loyal men, laying out their strategy. He explains why he must personally go to the Kingdom of Tion. He reassures, "But I won't be gone long." Upon hearing this, Claude and Alfoy feel joy bubbling inside. Their minds scream vacation time. They think it's finally a chance to relax away from the Lord's harsh gaze, yet try to hide their glee, veiling excitement with fake worry. Claude nearly bursts out, laughing with happiness. His shoulders tremble, so he covers his face, trying to conceal his thrill, then switches to a mournful tone, saying, "Without the Lord, what are we supposed to do?" Alfoy joins, solemnly nodding. He adds, "Looks like all we can do is rest, or endure." Gizllin ignores their act and turns to his most trustworthy man. He tells Gillian to oversee the territory in his absence. Pointing sharply at Claude and Alfoy, he instructs Gillian, "Make sure these two don't slack off." The joy disappears instantly from Claude and Alfoy's faces. Gillian nods firmly and says, "Understood." Gizlin's face darkens as he grows more serious. "I've placed troops near the territory through the kingdom's forces, but we still don't know how Desmond will react." He paces thoughtfully. "Since we've cornered them, expect a fierce attack." With commanding authority, Gizllin orders Gillian, "If Desmond strikes, do not engage. Fall back." It shocks any warrior, but Gillian grasps the meaning, valuing life over honor. Grave and solemn Gillian accepts the order of his lord with a deep bow. Gizllin rises. The meeting ends. He tells Belinda and Lucas, "We must leave." As Belinda and Lucas prepare, Gizllin packs final gear. Kay rushes over and stops them. He commands, "Wait." Then, with desperate urgency, he begs to come along. Hearing Kay's request, Claude and Alfoy stand shocked. Their mouths drop open. They can't believe it. "Who volunteers for trouble?" Alfoy asks. "Why's that kid turning down an easy shot this time?" Lucas jumps on the chance to taunt. He tells Kay, "That place is brutal with your average skills." He shakes his head, mocking, "The Lord was doing you a favor." Lucas then warns Kay not to overreach and to stay within the safe zone. As Lucas keeps teasing, fully enjoying the moment, Kay swiftly throws a punch driven by his frustration. But Gizllin intercepts, catching the blow with ease. Unfazed by the stopped punch, Kay glances beyond Gizllin to Lucas and declares, "Our last fight isn't finished, and it won't end like before." Lucas raises an eyebrow, intrigued. "Oh really?" he asks. Gizllin studies Kay's fierce gaze. He sees the burning resolve. Then he looks to Ghislain for his opinion. Without hesitation, Ghislain replies confident, "Yes, he's more than capable on his own." Gizllin nods, slightly impressed by the growth of his protege, saying, "Good." He gestures to Kay to follow him. Back in the present, the memory fades, giving way to reality. As Gizlin's group arrives, the massive fortress looms large. They approach a border stronghold, a bleak structure of stone and iron. They enter the Shadow Mountain Range stronghold, Ironcliffe. Inside, the air is heavy, smelling of sweat, rust, and old blood. As they step in, other hunters eye them suspiciously, wary of the newcomers. Their looks are predatory, judging the gear and confidence of the fresh faces. Belinda surveys the grim expressions and the fortress's grand scale. She scoffs dramatically. Lucas scans around, nostalgic. He comments, "Nothing here has changed." Sarah senses the tension and spots a man glaring sharply at them. Kayer confronts a knight from Ironcliffe, asking, "Why the hostile stare?" He steps up, ready to spark a fight. Gizllin quickly halts Kay. "Enough. Don't start a fight first," he orders. Belinda observes the chaotic camp layout and asks, "Are we unpacking and going to hunt monsters right away?" Gizllin shakes his head. "No. You must first register at the guild building over there to hunt," he says, pointing to a large rundown hall in the center. Belinda is taken aback. She frowns, questioning, "Didn't we come because of a royal plea? Shouldn't we have some privileges?" Folding her arms, she wonders why they need to go through such a hassle. Gizllin, with a sly smile, knowing the harsh reality better than her, warns not to expect special treatment. That's just how rules work here. They step into the guild building dim inside with the murmur of rough men. Facing the receptionist at the desk, a stern man with heavy lids. Gizllin introduces himself. "I am the Baron of Fenris from Lethania. We're here on a royal request from Turan." The receptionist remains unmoved upon hearing this. Slowly opening his eyes unimpressed, he asks, "Are you registering as hunters?" His voice is dry and flat as he continues, "Here, noble titles mean nothing. Slave or noble, everyone is equal inside this fortress." Belinda's pride as a noble retainer flares with anger. She demands, "What did you just say?" But the receptionist completely ignores her. He begins jotting notes in a ledger. The quill's scratch is the only sound he makes. Without looking up, he says to Belinda, "Don't act like some noble and stir up trouble for no good reason." He dips his quill into the ink again. Only Tion knights oversee this fortress, so it runs with bare essentials. Hunter disputes are on them to settle. The receptionist glances up briefly, adding, "Just avoid killing, all right?" He pauses before asking, "Anyway, you're all here to hunt monsters, right?" Kay scoffs loudly at this. He retorts, "What a joke!" Leaning on the counter, he asks the receptionist, "So you're basically saying to handle it ourselves because it's a hassle?" The receptionist straightforwardly replies, "Exactly." Then he tosses 4 tokens onto the wooden counter with a clatter. "These tokens let you hunt anywhere within the Shadow Mountain range," he says. Then he reminds them, "Make sure you always carry them with you." With a sharp, mocking look, the receptionist tells Gizlin's group to have fun. Gizllin accepts the tokens, his expression unreadable. He turns away and says, "Let's move." Belinda's irritation flares up. She kicks a stone and mutters, "Unbelievable. They come asking for help and then act like this. If it were Lethania, they'd just..." But before she can finish, a voice interrupts from behind her. "Hey there!" As Gizllin turns, he spots 3 hunters blocking their path, rough and scarred, oozing arrogance. The man in the middle steps forward. His false politeness drips as he welcomes them to Ironcliffe, addressing them as nobles from another land. He asks, "Have you just registered as hunters?" Gizllin replies, disinterested. "Who knows?" and starts to walk away. No time for chit-chat. Ko glares at the men and tells them to scram. "We're busy." The man steps up quickly, blocking them. He swirls his cloak aside, revealing a distinctive emblem. "Donkard, King of Ironcliffe," he declares proudly. "Under his rule, I'm part of a cooperative that defends hunter rights." Kayer sighs deeply, rolling his eyes and mutters, "No matter the place, there's always some fool playing king, huh?" Sarah sizes him up and asks, "So, what if this is our first time here?" Pointing at the guild hall, and the receptionist inside the man goes on, "The kingdom's knights don't lift a finger here. So all hunters band together to keep order." He flashes a slick, predatory grin. "That's why we assist new hunters coming to Ironcliffe," he says, lowering his voice to a whisper. "If you pay a small association fee, you get to focus on hunting without useless conflicts." Lucas nods subtly at his lord, a silent query. Belinda narrows her eyes and demands, "Are you seriously trying to extort us?" Gizllin stands for a moment, then turns to Kay. He tells Kay to listen close. "When arriving somewhere new, there's one thing you must do first," Gizllin says firmly, "especially in a place with no law like this." Hearing Gizllin, the would-be extortionist smirks, thinking Gizllin has caved. He says, "Looks like you've made up your mind." "You read the situation faster than you seem," he says, nodding with approval. "Whether you like it or not, if you stick around Ironcliffe, we'll cross paths a lot. So keeping peace is wise." The man extends his hand, waiting for coin. Instead, Gizllin strikes with lightning speed. Gizllin lands a solid punch on the hunter's face. The blow is deafening. It sends him flying backward. collapsing into the dirt, knocked out before he even hits the ground. The other two hunters freeze in shock. Gizllin casually shakes his hand free, then eyes Kay to wrap up his lesson. He tells Kay her fists always beat words. Strength defines justice. Ser watches his lord eyes full of awe and dawning understanding. He gets that in Ironcliffe.